Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Four Shots of Kajukenbo. I'm your host, John Hoylo. Today I've gathered some rockers and metalheads from the Kajukenbo community to talk shop. So sit back, get your shots ready, turn it up to 11, and enjoy the show. Welcome. I'm joined today by Chris Burton, Craig Logue, and Dan Tyrell, all Kajukenbo black belts. And today we're talking metal. Today's show will be done in the Four Shots format, the format that we created. We're going to take a couple shots throughout the show to help mark the passage of time. 4 shots, 4 questions. So if you guys are ready, get your first shot out. We're going to do this. Kajukenbo.
Salute.
All right. Our first question is somewhat connected to Kajukenbo and working out and such. Not only what do you listen to, but how important is music to your workouts, your training, when you teach, or do you even listen to music in your workouts at all? Chris, let's start with you first.
Yeah, we do use music in our workouts. Especially my senior class. I have a class in the mornings where I just teach seniors, and we use a lot of Chinese soft music because I'm teaching them Tai Chi, things like that.
Yeah.
It softens the mood. It kind of gets them in rhythm a little bit also. Most of it's 4 counts, things like that, and the martial arts is between the notes. It's the music between the notes. So
I've heard that said about blues music too. It's kind of like what you're not playing. It's what's in between. And you mentioned that 4/4 rhythm. It's good for the dance as well. Craig, how about you?
Where we train, there's like a loop, music loop, and most of the time it's like classic rock. So what we're going through, it could be Journey or it could be like Air Supply. You never really know. But I've noticed like Riders on the Storm is really cool to do a few forms too. And anytime Eye of the Tiger comes on, the heavy bag moves a little bit farther for some reason.
I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think you mentioned as well. I used to listen to a station called The Bone. That was the classic rock station, California. Always listen to the same kind of stuff. Now, Dan, I want to get your thought on this, but here's the thing. For me, I'm my instructor. Chris is instructor as well right now. He's really into music. I'm into music, a wide variety of stuff. I found like the dance rhythm, Chris talking about like the 4/4 kind of rhythm is really good for striking classes. You got like the industrial techno stuff like Dragula. I think it's a great workout song actually. But then you also got, even away from industrial techno stuff, you got like Are You Gonna Go My Way, Firewoman by the Cult. They have this real simple driving beat that works well for striking class. Dan, you seem to do more BJJ than we do. So I'm curious about your thoughts with music. What do you got going on your side?
It just sort of depends on what the mood is. Like we'll put on, like, music is in every class that we have. The jiu-jitsu stuff tends to be a little bit more like low-key rap, or we'll do some more, I don't know, maybe some reggae, whatever produces that flow. For like stand-up sparring, I think we'll see more rock and roll, more R&B and blues. James Brown usually comes on for kickboxing like 7 out of 10 classes. So that's the go.
So when you're wrestling, no Careless Whisper, no Kenny G, nothing like that?
Sure. I mean, it gets played, I'm sure.
All right, so this is just a warm-up for our show. We're talking as we go. We're going to go on to our next question now that we have a baseline of what we all listen to. That second question, if you guys are ready, get your next shot ready. Here he goes. Now, this question I hope to go a little more in-depth into for you guys. This is a very serious question. Need to get your guys' thoughts on this. Is it time to stop making fun of Nickelback?
Never.
No.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, I'm gonna go into express detail of my exact abhorrent hatred of Nickelback.
You seem passionate about this. I'm looking forward to this. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a radio station comes out of Seattle, called KISW. And anybody that's ever spent any time in the Pacific Northwest knows about KISW. They had a new song shootout, and it was, I should remember the Motorhead song that it was, but Motorhead had a new album out. And what's the language barrier on this? Are we allowed to drop? I'll say F bomb right now. Okay.
Go ahead, let it out. Go ahead. This is R-rated show. Go for it.
Nickelback put out that godforsaken, stupid fucking rock star song, and somehow, through some great cosmic kerfuffle, managed to beat Motorhead on the new song Shootout. Like, I already hated Nickelback, but that was it. Like, at this point, for me to say anything could be called premeditated, so I'll keep my mouth shut on that. But let's just hope that I never meet Nickelback.
That exact song bothers me all the time.
Yeah, the guy's already a rock star. So I mean, if you really can't handle it, go flip a burger somewhere. I mean, really.
I got you there, Chris. Dan, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Nickelback? Is it time to stop making fun of them?
I don't have Nickelback.
No. They have some stuff I like, and it's about the music for me. I don't like all their music. There's a few things I like. You know, I could care less about who they are.
Right.
But as far as, there's a few things I like, not all of it, but
I'll admit, but before the Rockstar song, the very first Nickelback album, or at least the first one that I heard, I remember I listened to it and it was okay for me. There were like a couple songs I liked. There were like 2 songs I remember liking. I thought there was definitely room for growth. So I see what you're saying. They did have something, at least at one point. Dan, what are your thoughts on Nickelback?
I don't have any thoughts on Nickelback.
No.
I just don't. Yeah.
And you don't need to. That's fine. So
no, I do have to add. I do have to say that there is one band slightly worse than Nickelback, and that's Creed, because they're fucking sound like Nickelback, and they're not Nickelback.
Creed? Yeah, Creed is another. Creed's the guitarist was Tremonti, right?
Schlep rock of the highest order.
Well, Creed, their guitarist, what was his name? Tremonti?
They should have a fight to the death with Def Leppard, and it should be a tie.
That might be a little one-sided. I think Def Leppard would be missing something, like an arm. But Creed, their guitar player, I think his name is Tremonti. If you guys he has a separate band called Alter Bridge, which is amazing.
Alter Bridge is great. If I'm not mistaken, if there's any wrestling nerds among us, I think it was Alter Bridge that does the Edge entrance song, or did when he was with WWE.
It could be.
On this day, I see clearly. I think it is. I'm not sure though.
We have a wrestling fan. We've been joined by Dan Mysterio.
Are you a mark, Dan? Dan, are you a mark?
Or Rey Mysterio.
So,
you know, I'm gonna say this is happening more and more, and I've been out a lot on the music scene.
Yeah,
a lot of bands are even having second bands and opening for themselves now.
Yeah. I used to think that would be kind of what's the word? Opening for yourself. It's kind of like wearing a wrestling mask and playing for yourself as an opening band, but everyone knows who you are, I guess. But what do you think about that, Chris? You think that's a cool thing, or is that a bad thing, you think?
Well, it can go either way. It can be a genius thing. I mean, you don't have to hire another band. You're getting it all, you know. It's just you. You just change the name. In fact, I saw one recently, and they're a cover band for Nirvana, which I'm not a fan of Nirvana myself, but they have their own band with their own music, and they opened for their cover band for Nirvana. It was pretty cool the way they did it.
Yeah, it can be done. I think it can be a good thing.
I think it's all right. I mean, it's pretty innovative if you think about it. I've actually done that before. I've got a one-man band project that I do from time to time, and I've actually done that and then gone on with the band that I play bass for and done that. So that was pretty fun.
I got a friend who does that here in Okayama. He plays like 4 or 5 different bands. So he'll play one night. He'll be like a few different bands at the same time.
Right. Just make sure it's at the same venue.
Oh crap!
Right. But you don't get double drink tickets, so that's what's
extra drink tickets in that case. Here's the thing with me and Nickelback, just to be clear. And Chris, I understand, I respect you that you got an interest. You're okay with Nickelback. I'm on
Because
Craig's side. I will make fun of them to the end of my days, and I have my own thing on this. And for me, um, I know Chris, you mentioned like it's about the music, it's a song, and I agree with that. For me, the stories behind any art changes the art, makes it better or worse. That's why I think AI art will never be as good as human art because of the stories. You take a song like Layla. You guys know Layla, right?
yep.
Eric Clapton, Derek and the Dominoes, the great song, on fire riff. The ending's this beautiful solo. You can just, Eric Clapton gets his name, Slow Hands. You can just hear it there. But you guys know the story behind Layla, right?
Yep.
No, I don't.
You don't
You
know.
know,
Dan,
No.
what do you know about it?
it's about George's ex, and they him and Eric hooked up, and
That's right.
yep.
George Harrison of the Beatles. Yeah. Eric
Wow.
Clapton wrote this song for a married woman, thinking he was never going to legitimately be with her. And then a couple years later, she divorces Harrison. Time passes, she marries Eric Clapton. So, like, for me, that makes the song Layla way better because it just makes everything better about it. And then you got Nickelback. Like Craig
Yeah.
is saying, is that they're like, a lot of musicians have sung about selling out. A lot of them have sold out, but to do both with that song was just unforgivable to me. So I'm with Craig, and I cannot see
Here,
how
here.
that song could be anything by Motorhead.
Right,
And
like
that,
the irony of it completely lost the irony of it. Like it just, if you're gonna be a douche, but for crying out loud, don't pretend you're not a douche. Like,
I don't know how
No,
you
no, he's definitely
Motorhead and
a
Lemmy
douche,
and
but
all that in the same conversation as a Nelson style band. We can't. That's almost like Lemmy's being defaced right now.
what are you saying, Chris?
yeah, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of cosmic fluke happened that was. I mean, I don't know, man.
Chris, what were you saying? I couldn't hear the last thing you were saying.
Right? I'm sure Lemmy lost sleep over that, right?
I
Lemmy lost sleep over a lot of things. Most of it was chemically
Most of it was
induced.
not legal. Yeah.
yeah.
You guys know Lemmy was going to be in the original Jaws movie, right?
Oh,
no.
really?
Yeah, there's like the captain that's like the harbinger who's like got the funny
Oh,
eye. You don't trust the sharks. And like the one who scares all the people. That was supposed to be Lemmy actually, and he apparently according to the story, I think he punched Steven Spielberg or something. He actually
Oh,
got pissed off, and Spielberg's like, "Get this asshole out of here." So he actually lost that job because of them. All right, we're gonna go on to our next question. So, you guys ready for our next?
yep.
Speaking of Lemmy, I'm gonna bring out my Motorhead shot glass. You guys ready for this one?
Is that Motorhead bourbon you're sipping on?
No, we finished that a couple days ago,
Oh, you
actually.
did.
My wife and I. Yeah. Here we go, number 3.
Grace.
All right.
Oh,
So for you guys, I want to ask, what is the best performance or concert or show that you've seen live? If not the best, what are some of the best ones that come to mind for you?
Well,
oh.
I've been to a lot of them last
I
couple
know
years.
I saw like 5 or 6 of them like last month, dude. Yeah, you've been to a lot.
And my favorites aren't the name bands. So one I recall, which I really enjoyed. There's a lot of them I really enjoyed, and this is one of the bands right here, Stone Prophet. Um, they opened for. Have you ever heard of Hell's Bellas?
Hell's
Yeah,
Bells.
the ACDC tribute band.
Fucking awesome,
Their
just awesome.
bass player is one of my best friend in the whole world's ex-wife.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah,
and just the energy you get off these bands. I mean, I watched the lead singer for Stone Prophet. There was a fan wanted an autograph. He tracked down every member of the band after and got that autograph for that fan.
Wow.
It's these small bands that make it all worthwhile. I mean, I saw Anthrax and Black Label Society, really cool, but there was no intervention with the fans, really. It was
Yeah.
throw a few picks and that's it. But
Did you see, you mentioned like Black Label Society. Did you see them at a bigger venue or smaller venue?
At a smaller venue. I saw him in Garden City, Idaho.
Okay. I asked because like last small venue big band I saw was Kill Switch Engage, and they did a really good job interacting with the audience actually. So it's definitely a band thing. You mentioned like doing that for the fans. That's definitely individual, not just, the venue per se.
Right. Well, I saw Guar, if you count, spraying me with fake blood and stuff. I mean, that was,
Right.
I hear Rammstein used to spray their
Right
audience
on.
with some not blood.
Right on.
How about you, Dan?
I everything's off of memories. So, Ozzy with my cousin
Oh wow.
was a big one. I took my brother to go see. I don't remember this concert. He had to actually. Uh, he he sent me this video of this mosh pit in Oakland Coliseum for New Year's. It was Primus and Tool.
Ooh.
I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. And he goes, "It was. You took me there, you fucker." Like, I don't remember. I got punched too many times in the head. Um,
Don't say
my
anything to get yourself in trouble now.
I know, right? Oh no, that's all legit. My wife took me to see the Misfits in a really kind of quaint uh, uh, over in Petaluma at the Phoenix Theater. That
Wow.
was a really cool show. It was yeah, that was a good one. And then I think like if I were to pick one that was sort of like non heavy metal, taking my mom and for her birthday
Hmm.
to go see with my wife to go see Paul McCartney
Hmm.
over at Candlestick Park. It was like the last concert for Candlestick. And
Wow.
it was cool because it was like going to see your grandpa,
Yeah.
he was up there and he's like, all right, man. Like John and I and George were hanging out with the Rolling Stones one day and we talked about blah, blah, blah. And here's a song. And he just busted out with it. It was like, it was really cool, like this whole
Yeah.
different level of show. Like nosebleed seats. It wasn't even funny, but
Yeah.
yeah, those are my tops. It has to do with like who did you get to see with the people you got to see it.
Yeah. I can
Nice.
understand. And it doesn't have to be rock. I mean, even as rock fans, I once went with some family who got some tickets to see check this out, Yanni. Uh
Oh,
I was never a fan of Yanni. I tried, I listened to everything. So I was like, how is it? Not that great. But what impressed me about this is that during the show, he didn't do shit. The whole time he let these guest musicians go off and they had all these lead solos and he didn't do anything. I respected that because I didn't respect him, but I respected
Oh,
that
that's
he
cool.
let them play instead. Again, it's doesn't have to be rock. Sometimes just any kind of music can have that kind of thing. Craig, how about you?
For me, the end all be all show, the one that I could have died 3 seconds after, 1996 Tacoma Dome Kiss
Wow.
on Rock the World Kiss reunion tour, because I waited 20 friggin' years to see that concert. Kiss was my favorite band of all. For me, Elvis is the king, period.
Okay. Okay.
Elvis is, was, and always will be the king. I'll throw hands for
You're a
Elvis,
Danzig
Aaron
fan too, then,
Presley,
right?
period. Right?
You're a Danzig
Uh,
fan too, then, right? He's got a little bit of Elvis
oh,
in him.
yeah, Elvis is the king.
Yeah.
But after Elvis is Kiss. And when I saw Kiss, Gene Ace, Peter, and Paul on stage in front of me, that was it. As soon as the curtain dropped, as soon as the pyro went off, and when they ripped into Deuce, look, that was game over, man. I was, I like epiphany. Next in line, Ramones at the Paramount.
nice,
God
nice.
damn, they were good. The
Nice.
Ramones were they're next in line. Like
Yeah.
Alice Cooper, New Year's Eve,
Oh, that would have
1987,
been a great
88.
show.
That was supposed to have been Motorhead, Faster Pussycat, and Alice Cooper. Motorhead, for some reason, couldn't make it. We saw Armored Saint. I got on a video for Armored Saint, looked for a little tiny skinhead wearing Alice Cooper makeup in the front row in the Armored Saint video. But Alice just killed it.
Nice.
You know,
Uh,
I've been to some. The only pit that I've seen Agnostic Front, I've seen Dropkick Murphys about 1,000 times. I've seen Clutch 15, 12 times, somewhere around there. The only pit I've ever been in my life where I feared for my health and well-being, Slayer,
Slayer.
Rain and Blood tour. It was in 1988.
That's a dangerous
Dome
place to be,
Convention
man.
Center. Fuck. How anybody made it out of that show alive was beyond me. That was insane. And I went
How do
to
you
the
feel? How do you feel
Lollapalooza and
about
some.
Kiss going virtual now? They've been doing their holograms next.
Oh, Kiss?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the Avatar thing. We'll see how that pans out. Well,
I was so disappointed with Kiss. I had tickets to see them. They canceled, and then they didn't come back
oh, is that when Paul had the flu a couple months ago?
for COVID or whatever they said they're having. This was a year ago or so, maybe 2 years
Okay.
ago.
Well,
And they never.
the last time around when Kiss was supposed to play, they were like, had to cancel like 3 shows because Paul had the flu. I was like, why didn't they just dress somebody up like Paul and have somebody, because they're just characters?
They went back to everywhere but Idaho. They didn't come back to Idaho.
Oh
And
man.
Skid Row and Buck Cherry, I was just going to see them, and some reason I didn't get the note that said that they'd canceled and they were going to redo it in February. So I was sitting in Boise waiting to go, and yeah, they weren't there. And
I remember you
and so
talking about that Skid Row show being canceled. That's a good singer too. Sebastian Bach, not only in rock, I've seen him do some other performances, just having fun. He's got some skill still. He's got it in him.
he
Now,
does.
I do have to interject real quick while on the subject of Kiss. My wife got me a ticket to the End of the Road concert, and I was always one of those stalwarts about J-Days, Peter and Paul. I mean, I grudgingly accepted Eric Carr eventually, and I was kind of faded out by like Hot in the Shade, right? But I've got a ticket to the End of the Road tour 2019, and I said, okay, I got it for Christmas. It was a gift. She came into this with good intentions. I'll go check it out and see what it was, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And as soon as the curtain dropped, as soon as the pyro went off, and about halfway through Detroit Rock City, I was like, this is a Kiss concert, man.
Nice.
This is a
I was
Kiss
never a
concert.
huge
And then
Kiss
it
fan, but I
dawned
like a
on
lot
me
of their
that
music.
Ace and Peter, even in the band as long as Tommy and Eric Singer were, like
Right.
the longevity. So I was like, God damn it, I don't want to admit it, but this is awesome. So I buried the hatchet with Kiss again.
Fair enough. Like I was saying, I was never really a huge Kiss fan, but I do like some of their music. Every once in a while, I hear a song, man, that's actually really good. That's a really good thing to go. Detroit Rock City is a great album opener. Now, a real quick question about sound quality. I think you guys have been to enough shows that you'll appreciate sound quality. For me, not the best show, but one of the best was the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Now, these guys got some great music. It's not a rock show, it's a family show, but
Right.
the musicality, the professionalism, the stagemanship, the showmanship, everything about it. And then they got this perfect sound balance, I heard. They got like 8 singers, like 2 keyboardists, the drummer, the bass, 2 guitar. They get 3 guitarists on the stage when they do a heavy metal version of Carmina Burana, that song from Excalibur. No samples. They got 8 classical singers in this, but the balance is perfect. Like, has there ever been a show? How do you guys feel about the sound quality when you see the balance? I remember the San Francisco Warfield was a great place for sound, but a lot of bands themselves, it's going to be an extra challenge for them.
Yeah, I think like
real
some of the
crap.
larger venues. Oh, that's cool. Got some.
Oh, sorry, go ahead one time.
No, I think some of the larger venues you just get blasted out.
Yeah.
You know, you get this sort of it's more noise than anything else.
Mhm.
So if you can find something that's smaller,
The Greek theater.
yeah, Greek theater is really good. And in Berkeley, saw Taj Mahal in the city, and that was like basically like front row seats, you know, hanging out, listening to him play. Santana,
Ooh.
really close to that was in the Concord Pavilion. That was really cool. But I've been to some shows where it's just noise, you know, and by the time you just got a headache walking out.
Yeah,
Was that
it changes everything.
that they couldn't even get the lead singer's vocals on. I mean, 3 bands went through and you couldn't hear anybody sing the entire time. All you could hear was the guitar and drum.
Where was that?
You
Where,
couldn't hear
where
it.
was that at?
Oh, that was in Boise.
Okay.
I hate to say names, but I guess I could. That was the Shredder.
The Shredder.
The Shredder. I will never go back. No.
Fair. Some
Yeah,
places are just not meant for it, man. And don't worry, I'm not a very popular show. I doubt anybody who goes to the Shredder is going to watch this.
that's all right. That's all right. It doesn't matter anyway. I don't know anybody there now, so.
Craig, you got thoughts on that?
One of the best bands I've ever seen, but the sound quality was fantastic, was The Cure. Both times I've seen The Cure, and I love The Cure. I don't care.
Me too. I love The Cure. That's a great band.
But live, they are such an experience, and their sound was impeccable. Just like on the I saw them on the Wish tour, and then we saw them at Riot Fest. My wife and I went over and saw them at Riot Fest, and that was just, they were killer. You know, it's funny. I'm trying to think the worst band I've ever seen. I was Rat. I saw Rat at the Ballard Firehouse, and they were just.
I forgot about them guys.
Oh, I love Rat, but with the sound
Yeah,
quality
me
bad, or
too.
they were bad.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking, God, I was disappointed at best. I was like,
I don't know if you guys.
"Come on,
Greta Van Fleet did a real nice show where their music was crisp. It was at the Boise Pavilion there.
So yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So it depends again on the place. That was the venue then.
Well, yeah, that was the place, and the one I was talking about earlier is just a really small venue, like
Right.
50 people.
Right.
You know, and sometimes those are the best, though. I mean, when I saw Anthrax, it was like 300 people, so we were right up against the stage. It was.
That's the best.
Yeah,
That is
the smaller shows I think are starting to make a comeback, because I really think smart people are going to get tired of paying $400 for a goddamn concert ticket. I saw Metallica on the Justice for All tour, and it was $20 at the Seattle Coliseum. 20
Oh my
bucks.
God! You
25
serious?
bucks.
$20?
Metallica, yeah, second
You
tier.
sound like grandpa, Craig, when you say it like that, you know.
What's that?
Back in my
You
day.
sound like a grandpa there, buddy.
I know.
Last year,
Back in my day when I saw Metallica, and here's the
last year I ordered 2 tickets.
The Cult. I wanted to see the Cult, and Metallica was all right, but it was the album after Cliff died, so I was like, yeah, it's still Metallica. But
I went to buy 2 Metallica tickets last year, and my wife goes, "Yeah, go ahead." And right before I hit order, I said, "Okay, it's $1,200."
yeah. What the
$1,200 plus. If we had got them, we would have had to fly to Vegas, get a room, all that. And so for 2 tickets, now I don't buy cheap tickets. I don't want to sit in the back. I don't want to have binoculars. I want to be up front and have the experience.
I hear that.
$1,200 for 2 tickets.
I think the flip side of that is I think a lot of more underground and a lot more local bands are going to start getting some recognition when people realize there's a lot of talent right in your backyard.
Oh yeah,
Tons of talent.
The small shows, I think, are really where you get the spirit of what rock's supposed to be, man. You get like that close. You get people talking, chatting. I've been to so many shows. I remember going to a Rush show and just seeing like some little like 12-year-old with his dad trying to talk with other fans, and the fans are totally into it. But like that rock attitude is very different from like the stadium just for the music. The attitude between the people is the thing. You go to these smaller shows, smaller venues, you get a lot more of that, I think. And you mentioned the live performance. Like that's way different than a lot of the studio performance. I've seen Linkin Park twice. Now, I love Linkin Park, but both times I saw them live, I was bored. It was as much as I love them, I was bored watching them because every song is like the same power chord chorus. So it was the same thing over and over again, and there was not the musicality you see from like Angus Young running around on stage. I was just bored. Seeing these guys live has never impressed me as much as I love these guys.
Well, Linkin Park, they're one of those kind of choreographed. It's the bass player's turn to jump now, bands, right? And it's the guitar player's turn to jump now, right?
Yeah.
It's the entertainment. I mean, it's the entertainment business. I mean, I just saw Dragon Force, and there's a lot of paper flying everywhere, and a lot of sounds and things going off all the time. But I mean,
those guys are awesome. Those are performers.
They're very much performers. I mean, they're up on speakers, on top, way up high, and then they're never in the same place. Those guys are constantly moving. almost make you dizzy to watch, try to keep up with them.
It makes me dizzy
Right,
watching
it's
their
got-
fingers, dude. They're flying all over the place.
Oh, you're a kid.
Now,
It's like-
the best show for me ever. It was a show that had good and bad in it. For better and worse, there's some good things, bad things. I learned a lot from it as a young musician. Was the 2003 Summer Sanitarium tour,
Okay.
Metallica, and I saw them in their hometown. It's been in my hometown. The show opens up with Mudvayne, which I didn't know at the time. Now I love Mudvayne. Lead singer went off, did a show with what's his name, the Dimebag Darrell's brother. They did a group together called Hell Yeah, great band. But this is my introduction to Mudvayne. The band before Metallica comes out, Limp Bizkit. Now, I hate Limp Bizkit with a passion, but so did most of the people in the audience. And this is 3Com Park. This is like a Coliseum size. This is one of those big shows, and so many people hated Limp Bizkit. So Limp Bizkit comes out, and they're trying to be tough, and you have their fans, trying to talk. Come on, guys, you guys are pretty good. I like some of their music. You should give them a chance. And everyone else is like, yeah, get the hell out of here, dude. This was at a big park. They're selling beer in plastic bottles because that's a good idea at a metal show this big. But somebody hated Limp Bizkit enough to bring glass bottles and throw them on stage. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, this is the atmosphere up to this point. And then Metallica comes out, and it was the best show I'd ever seen. This was after Load. This was after Reload, but they didn't play anything from those albums except Fuel, which said a lot to me. They were listening to the fans because the fans did not want to hear those albums, and everything was before that. And it was smooth. As much as I did not like Lars Ulrich at the time, he put on a damn good show. He was drumming awesome, and everything was perfect. And I went with my brother, and this was just like a nostalgic moment for me to remember this. This is a lot of good memories, all from this one show. As uncertain as I was, Metallica really impressed me that day.
They put on a hell of a show. I
They
mean,
do.
I was on the Justice for All tour. You can actually go on YouTube and find that show. They recorded both nights and spliced them together, but they played 2 nights and they kicked ass.
I believe
mean,
it.
It was good. And I'm one of those cliff or die stalwarts, back in the day.
Cliff Burton, yeah.
Metallica is one of those bands that I kind of like. I was there, man. This was another grandpa moment.
Another grandpa moment. I was there back in the time.
No, we had Ride the Lightning when it came out. My buddy's brother went to Seattle and came back with SOD. Am I allowed to say it? Speak English or die. And and Metallica, Ride the Lightning, and a Wasp, Animal, like a beast. And we hit those on the turntable. And as soon as we heard the opening riff for Ride the Lightning, we were like, give me a fucking break. It was game over, man.
You mentioned
But
Wasp,
no one
dude.
could handle that shit back then. No one could. They were listening to Bon Jovi and fucking.
Hey, I like Bon Jovi, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but nobody could handle the stuff. We'd try playing it even halfway through Master of Puppets, and nobody could take it. They were all listening to Poison and Rat and everything.
Hey, you know what, man? I think Wasp is even harder for people to take. I love Wasp. They're
awesome.
awesome band, but like that's not a band that people from the 80s would like really consider listening to if you're a nice person. I mean, like you said, the name of their song, the song is "Fuck Like an Animal." That's the name of the song. They had to play this alive.
For Metallica to have the audacity to get mad at people for getting their stuff on LimeWire.
Napster.
But I remember when you couldn't give that shit away. Like, you
Yeah.
got people who want to listen to you.
And this is why people didn't like Lars Ulrich. That's why, despite that, it was a good show.
It was like wasn't there a lawsuit against Napster when they did that? Oh my
Yep,
God.
that was Lars Ulrich. He was the one who really was all vocal about that, and he got a lot of people didn't like them. And again, this is why I was not expecting a great show, and I was impressed by what they did, despite that.
That was my favorite thing about Stranger Things, that it had kids illegally downloading Metallica again.
All right, if you guys are ready, we're going to go on to our final shot and our final question.
Yeah. Salute.
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 All right. So anybody who's seen this show before knows our final question is a little bit different, a little unique. This is a theoretical question for you guys.
Oh no.
the big four. We got Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth. The big four are in a bar, and a bar fight breaks out. Who comes out on top?
I've been racking my brain on this one, and I got a tie. I
What
got
do
a
you got?
tie.
What do you think?
Metallica and Slayer tie.
Okay, why? Because I put Slayer on top. But why do you feel that?
Well, I mean, Metallica. I mean, they got some big dudes on their band there too. So it's
Yeah.
I mean, Slayer they just look mean, but so
Well, the way I imagine it, Anthrax doesn't have a chance. They seem too
no,
nice to me.
no.
And the thing is, like, I imagine Scott Ian couldn't hurt a kitten if he wants to, whereas Kerry King eats kittens for breakfast. He is a mean motherfucker, I think, and I can see that in that case.
I think I hate to bring in the voice of realism here. And of them, Megadeth has always been my least favorite of the big four. If I say it should have been Lars, I mean it should have been Lars that went off and formed Megadeth. Uh, I think Megadeth would come out on top because Dave Mustaine is actually a fucking black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm gonna go with Craig.
I mean, in the realism advantage. But in the sake of the question, fucking Slayer, hands down, without a second.
Dan, you're saying?
It would lead you to the altar of sacrifice.
My wife says Slayer. I think Dave Mustaine though. I have to agree with Craig on this one.
Okay.
Dave is pretty awesome. You know, they kicked him out, and he through band members like crazy. I think Dave's where it's at, man.
Now here's my thing. I would put Megadeth at number 2 in this. You're right. He'd be a badass, but he's fired so many people. I feel like he'd have a target on his back.
Right.
And then here's the thing. When I saw Megadeth, they opened up with Hangar 18, and the band couldn't keep up with Dave Mustaine. He was literally playing too fast for everybody else, which I loved. It was like bad musically, but performance-wise, it was awesome to see this energy from this old guy just playing this old song so aggressively. But I feel like he would run out in the crowd and just get hit from behind. As badass as he is, I think they would come out second. Now, everyone else has a lot to say of Slayer. But Dan and Craig, what do you think of Metallica? Are you thinking, no, not so much?
Yeah.
I think everyone agrees Anthrax is number 4, but Metallica.
You know, I think Anthrax is 4.
Thinking of
Metallica
that.
Now, which Metallica are we talking though? I mean, are we
All
talking
general.
lineup or
All general. Like for Metallica, you can consider all three. You can consider Cliff Burton, Jason Newsted, and Robert Trujillo all together. I mean,
good one? But
I'm gonna put gloves on. If I'm gonna put gloves on a team, like a fight team, and have them fight, yeah, Metallica's like if they're gonna come on and cry about Napster.
right. You got to remember though, you got to keep Anthrax in contention though, because they are from New York, which means they were hanging out with like the Cro-Mags and surviving shows at CBGB's back in the day.
yeah.
So
That makes them enduring.
There's
a point to that too. Like people look at the Rolling
That's a
Stones, and
Toronto
like, the
show.
Rolling Stones are like the badass band, you know, like from way back. And then when they talk about the Rolling Stones, they go, "Oh, they're the better band, like they're the hardcore band." But when you look at where they grew up, they're like, "Oh, they grew up in the suburbs of London," you know.
Right.
And they're like, "No, it's the Beatles. The Beatles grew up in the fucking in Liverpool."
Yeah.
Like George is the one who's going to rock your ass. Not it ain't going to be Keith. It ain't going to be Keith. So like, where's the balance there? Who's going to fight better for you? I don't know. Right?
Now, the last thing I'm going to say before we end our show, I would say, with all this in mind, that Metallica definitely has the most intimidating bass players. Cliff Burton is God. Jason Newsted was just intimidating looking, but he's also just a beast. Robert Trujillo, especially, I saw a description of him. I love him. He's awesome. And I saw a description of him that haunts me to this day and scares me. You guys know how like he does a little crab walk thing? He plays the bass in front and he kind of does like a horse stance and walks like this. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I saw this description. I don't know who made this up, but this guy said he was haunted every night by nightmares of being chased down an alleyway by Robert Trujillo, crab walking and playing For Whom the Bell Tolls. That image is stuck with me forever. And I think that might do something in a fight like this. All right, so this is the end of our show. For those of you at home, thank you for joining us. For Dan, Chris, and Craig, thank you for coming on the show as well. Your debut on the Kajukenbo show. Thank you, everyone at home. Please be sure to click like, share, and comment. This is not a regular show. 4 shots of Kajukenbo. I do maybe 1 show a year just for fun. Please check out the other shows. We connect Kajukenbo with other ideas like the legalities of self-defense and autistic students that you work with or that you might be autistic as well. And for today, please let us know in the comments. Is it time to stop making fun of Nickelback or no? And on that, this
No.
yes, this has been the end of our show, and this is going to go on forever, I think.
Can I do 2 quick shout outs while we're on the metal show?
Do it.
Moss Generator from Port Orchard, Washington. Check them out. And Greyhawk from Seattle, Washington. Check them
Are you
out.
opening for them and are you closing for them too? Like, are you in the band and are you opening?
No, they're
for
just friends of mine that need people to listen to them. They are amazing.
That's the case, and I need to say one to Grady Hansen for Stone Prophet. Shout out to him. So
Excellent. We got our shows out. And Dan can pass you both Rey Mysterio masks, so Craig, you can perform and pretend it's not you on stage opening up for these bands you mentioned. And with that, thank you guys for watching. Until next time, stay strong, stay Kajukenbo strong. Mahalo.
Kajukenbo.